Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in spirit of Halloween, today's video is about the things that scares IT professionals at work. So in this video, I will be sharing with you some of the things, the horror stories that IT professionals encounter at work and the best practices, and probably some tips on how to mitigate this kind of situations just in case it happens to you or if you encounter it. So if you are interested to hear the horror stories in IT, please keep on watching, and without further ado, let's get started with today's video. Okay, so one thing that IT professionals get scared of is if servers don't come back up after rebooting or doing maintenance. This situation is really scary to be in, especially if the servers that didn't come back up are production critical. And the company's revenue is dependent on that server's operations and services, so the whole IT team will be screwed. So one tip when you're rebooting computers, especially servers, is to monitor it while it's rebooting so that if it doesn't come back up, you would know right away and you would have more time to fix it than learning about it when it's too late. Okay, so one very simple way to monitor when a server or computer is rebooting is to do a continuous ping, and that is just to type in ping with the hostname or IP address and -t, and that is when you can see if the server is timing out when it's rebooting. If it times out, then you would know that it's down and you would see when it will be coming back up or if it didn't come back up. If the server doesn't come back up right away and you can fix it easily and it will take longer for you and your team to fix it, best practice is to communicate it with all of the departments and teams involved in that server so they will be aware of the situation instead of also panicking. And make sure that you give them a time frame also on how long you think it will take. And also, we always say this in IT that it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than the opposite. Another thing that IT professionals are scared of is the blue screen of death. We all have probably seen this in our career or studies, and it is quite terrifying. It is still scary even if this happens to a user computer, because sometimes it might take you a while to fix the issue, and instead of the user doing their jobs, they will be dealing with this instead. So there's multiple causes for this issue, and it's not the same for every computer. Sometimes it can be a software issue. An example would be incompatible driver or some computer updates. Sometimes it could be the hardware. There could be some hard drive issues, some overheating, some hardware malfunction, or faulty memory. There are different tools for troubleshooting BSOD, and one of them is a blue screen viewer. Okay, so one of the free blue screen viewer tools there is from Microsoft. So it's called WinDBG or Windows Debugger, and it's a free tool that you can install on your computer. And what it does is that it can show you logs of the crashes and give you more information. For example, like what driver failed or what time did the driver fail. So it can actually help you with troubleshooting, and you will see more information in here that could point you to the right direction when troubleshooting, because in BSOD it's really hard to pinpoint which one caused the crash. So it's really helpful to have logs that have all the information and details that you would need on whatever happened to the computer. Another thing that IT professionals are scared of is that if there's a power outage and you forgot to save the configuration on a network switch, for example. Okay, so for example, you just configured all of the servers to be in a specific VLAN, and for some reason there's a power outage and the switch reboots and you forgot to save the configuration. What do you think will happen? So for Cisco network devices, the current version of the configuration file is on the running config. So all the configuration that you did, if you don't save them, will just be on the running config. And when a network device reboots, it loads the configuration from the startup config. And if you didn't save your running config to the startup config, none of your configurations will be saved. Okay, so just best practice whenever you're changing a configuration is to save it, and the command will be copy running config, startup config, or copy run start as a shortcut, or you can use the old command write memory or WRMEM, which also works. One other thing is power outages. So power outages can also be scary when working in IT because it causes data corruption, it can also damage our hardware, and it can greatly affect our company's operations. So a solution that every server room and data center should have is a UPS or an uninterruptible power supply. It has a continual power system that provides automated backup electric power when the main power fails. So one common brand is APC, and it also has a web portal where you can monitor the UPS. And of course, everyone will be scared if there's a security breach that happened in your company, just like hacking. And of course, the whole IT team will be scared if there's a lack of documentation, especially from legacy systems. So best practice is if you are building something or changing something, make sure to update everything.